Assalamualaikum and a very good day to the honorable judges, fellow contestants and audiences. My name is Nozari Hifzan bin Rosas Nisha from smkma2. I'm going to present my book review entitled Ethan's Voice, written by Rachel Carter. First and foremost, let me introduce the author of this book. Rachel grew up on a Somerset smallholding surrounded by animals. At the age of 12, she was selected to attend a week-long creative writing course where she was in her elements. Rachel now lives in Bristol where she was in a museum. For your information, this book is her first book of writing. Ethan's Voice is an absolute beautiful and unusual tale of a young boy called Ethan who struggles with selective mute. He is 11 years old who is unable to talk. He used to once, but stopped when he was 7. But he can't remember why. It is a mystery. There was one traumatic accident happened to be a reason why he lost his voice. From that day, he doesn't go to school. He is scared of it. Everyone teases and bullies him because he doesn't speak. He is then homeschooled and his mom teaches him. Since he is alone and has no friends, he doesn't like being around people because he feels uncomfortable. So he tries not to be noticed and spend most of his time alone. Ethan lives on a canal boat with his parents. They have a nice, simple life, just the three of them. Whenever they ask him questions, he can nod or shake his head only. His parents really care about him and try hard to let him speak again. They have tried everything to get him talking again, but to no avail. There is a woman named Mary who is a social worker, and she always visits Ethan to make sure he is doing well with his studies and at the same time motivate him to go back to school. Then along comes Polly, a girl of a similar age to Ethan. Polly moves into the canal with her mother. She also lives on a boat and it moved right next to Ethan. She's not like anyone else he's ever met. She doesn't mind at all that he doesn't speak. She quickly understands the situation and doesn't pressurize Ethan into speaking, but she does provide him some much needed companionship. It is this friendship which makes Ethan's voice such a beautiful read. As their friendship blossoms, Ethan's urge to speak becomes stronger than ever. Their friendship began when he helped Polly save the boat's hook. Then Polly invites him for Halloween at midnight. He knows that his parents wouldn't allow him. They might worry because he never goes out late at night. So he had sneaked out for Moon's End and Polly's house. Unluckily, he was caught by his father. He was afraid that he might not be able to meet Polly anymore. However, they had decided that he can see Polly only in the daytime. He loves to listen to Polly because everything she said was interesting. In order to ease their communication, Polly gave him a notebook. He can write whatever he is thinking. Before this, Dad used to give him the notebook, but he couldn't use it because it made him too nervous. As Ethan warms to her and starts showing her his neighborhood, they start to try to figure out why he stopped talking. As he takes her around his favorite hangouts, he starts to remember things from the past. One of his favorite places is the tree house. This house was built by his father as his 7th birthday present. He really wants to show Polly the house, but he felt nervous. It is because he always got nightmares about that house. Polly said that whatever happened at the tree house, it is important. He needs to remember. It might help him to speak again. Then he got courage to go to the tree house together with Polly. He noticed that the house getting wrecked. Thus, she started to remember that there was facing the big boy with blue coat and ginger hair. Then the big boy was tumbling back, falling onto the towpath, and his head fell on the concrete and couldn't move. That's it. He tries to think on the reason why the boy fell. He thought that might have hurt that boy. He wrecked the tree house. He doesn't know what is real or imagined. He is confused. After the incident, Dad warned him for not telling his mom. It is because there was a baby called Maisie in her tummy that had tried to born early. Maisie was born too early and she died. He didn't speak to make sure that not in trouble. He realized that it was the reason why he lost his voice. When he writes a note asking that what actually happened to the boy, Dad said sometimes it is best not to remember. Sometimes it is best to leave the past behind. This reply made him totally horrified. Polly suggests him to find the news about the incident at the library. At first, he doesn't want to go to the library because he was afraid to know the truth. But he needs proof that his dad didn't do anything wrong. However, they found nothing. Polly went back to the library again to make sure that they didn't miss anything. Finally, she found out. Now the truth was revealed. Actually, his dad was a hero. He saved the boy from death. According to the news, the drunken youth who vandalized the treehouse and attacked his dad and then fell on the towpath. His dad called the ambulance to save him. That boy suffered head injuries but is making stable recovery. He was really proud of Dad's action. Ethan asked forgiveness to his dad because he got confused and claimed that his dad had killed that boy. Dad also said sorry to him because he didn't talk about the tragedy the whole thing. Dad thought that Ethan stopped talking because of Maisie. Now he knows that Ethan was so scared of what he had seen. He was too scared to speak in case he told anyone and got Dad in trouble. Polly also facing with a problem in her life where she really missed his dad since they had been apart. At last, her mom was decided to be together again. They will go home. Ethan felt very, very sad because Polly, who was always inspired and give courage to him to speak then. After she moved, Ethan was able to speak but no one knew it. Ethan was agreed to go to school that was suggested by Mary previously. Then Dad brought him to visit the school first. The teacher asked him to speak. Finally, he speaks and introduces him in class. It was the best ending. The writer does an amazing job of keeping the story flowing. I ended up reading this book in one sitting because I just had to know what happened. The story was to the point without any useless description and plot twist. The writer focused all her writing on Ethan's inability to speak. I like how the writer develops Ethan's and Polly characters. Their friendship was a wonderful part of the book, mostly because they were contrasting characters. Their differences became much more apparent during their interactions. Ethan was definitely a dynamic character, but not in the usual sense. At the start of the end of the book, he was timid and shy. What changed was his confidence. This, in turn, affected his ability to speak, which he was able to do at the end of the story. Polly was the complete opposite. She was talkative and very confident, yet sensitive and sympathetic. I loved her personally mainly because she encouraged Ethan to be friends with her and together work on finding Ethan's voice. These two characters started off as very different, but by the end of the story, it is easy to tell that they learned a lot from each other. I also like the mysterious element in the story. The nightmare about the tree house was a nice touch. The story covering topics such as bullying, repressed memories, families, and friendship. The author at first focused a lot on the importance of friendship However, towards the end, she showed the importance of family too. I'm glad of this because good friends are quite hard to come by. Much harder than parents who love you. From this story, I learned that words and communication are very important. In turn, learned that everyone has an innate ability to communicate. One just had to find it. It may not be the most conventional way, but that doesn't really matter when you can share your thoughts and feelings. I guess that's why Polly agrees to go back to her father. Over a phone call, she learns she's been miserable ever since her family apart. Another lesson is to keep our emotion well. If our emotion distracted, it will affect our life. Ethan was traumatized by the incident at the tree house. His parents didn't comfort him and made him unable to speak for about 4 years. This was really a wreck. That's all from me. Thank you for lending your ears.